YouTube, how are you doing? And welcome back to Phasmophobia. In this video, I'm gonna tell you everything you need to know about the EMF reader in Phasmophobia. The EMF reader is my favorite item to find the ghost room, and it seems like a really simple tool, but it is actually extremely deep, and there's so many little things you can do with this thing. For example, there's one trick that if you don't know, it's gonna change your life, which is how you can get EMF 5 without even using the EMF reader by looking at the activity chart. Now, I'm gonna explain that as well as every other little thing you need to know about the EMF reader. It's gonna be fun. I hope you enjoy. If you're not subscribed, please do so. If you like the video, like it. If you dislike it, dislike it. But let's not waste any more time, and let's hop into the game. Let's go. Alrighty, here we are. Okay, so obviously we're playing on professional, so we can see the activity chart. We might not have an EMF ghost here, which doesn't really matter. There's a lot to talk about. First of all, the most important thing that people might have clicked on this video for: how to use the activity chart. If you've ever seen me play on a difficulty that has the activity chart, such as professional or special custom difficulty, the activity chart is extremely useful. And recently I saw a few people comment on my videos that did not understand how this worked and wanted me to explain it again. So we're going to start off with that, then we're going to head into the game and talk about a whole bunch of other stuff. First of all, what you need to know: EMF 1 is nothing. If you turn on the device, EMF 1 is already provided for you, which obviously doesn't mean the ghost is here right now. It's not EMF 1 that is just like, hey, the device is on. Only from EMF 2 and onwards is it actually based off of ghost activity. I think the best way to explain how the activity chart works is, if I'm just going to explain it to you in one go, you're going to be really confused, is explain how the activity chart functioned when the game first came out. When the game first came out, the activity chart was literally exactly showing you the EMF in the house. What does that mean? As soon as the EMF detector picks up EMF 2, that means there's ghost activity. If that was the case, you would see a 1 on this chart, because 0 is nothing, which is equal to EMF 1, because EMF 1 is nothing. So EMF 1 is this line right here. As soon as the ghost does anything, like a little bit, which is EMF 2, it'll show a 1. If it gives EMF 3, it'll show a 2. If it gives EMF 4, it'll show a 3. If it gives EMF 5, it'll show a 4. That was how it used to work initially. Now, when that was the case, it was extremely overpowered, because as soon as you saw an EMF 4 or an activity of 4, you instantly knew that is EMF 5, because it was just like a 1-to-1 correlation of the EMF on the activity chart. So the developer saw us use that and abuse that, so they were like, all right, we need to change that a little bit. They haven't changed it much. You can still use this. A lot of people think that you can't use it anymore. No, you totally can. So basically what they did, instead of having EMF 2 is 1, EMF 3 is 2, EMF 4 is 3, EMF 5 is 4, they made it still the same. However, now instead of showing you the exact value, let's say that we have EMF 5, instead of showing you a 4, it will either show you a 4, or +1, a 5, or -1, a 3. And the same thing is for every single one of the EMF values. If you have a 4, it would usually show you a 3, but now instead of just showing you a 3, it's going to either show you a 4, a 3, or a 2. So it's like a plus or -1 compared to the value that it would show you on the activity chart. Same for if you have EMF 3, it's going to show you a 2, 3, or a 1. If you have EMF 2, which is interesting, that's the first type of activity, like touching a door or something. It'll show you a 1, a 2, or a 0. So it's actually really interesting that you can see nothing on the chart, even though there's activity happening in the in the house. That's because the ghost might be it might have like gone down to 0. Now, another thing you notice is that the ghost is not doing anything right now. That is because the ghost only starts to do things as soon as you unlock the door. If you've ever watched any of my no key challenges, you know that that is part of why the no key challenge is so weird, because the ghosts don't actually activate until you open the door. So let's open the door, and immediately you can see the activity. So how can you use the activity chart, or what gives EMF? That's another really important thing that you should know about. Everything gives EMF. Ghost abilities, items being thrown around, doors being touched, breakers turning off and on, giggles of stuffed animals, mannequins moving. Literally every little thing in the game will give EMF. However, the different things give specific EMF value. If a door is touched, this will give EMF 2 every single time. If an item is thrown, this will give EMF 3 every single time, which is quite important. Perfect ghost Look at that. Okay, let's go. I was really hoping we'd get an EMF ghost. This is a perfect example of EMF 5 happening in our face right here. So you see these really high you see this extremely high spike. It is a 5 spike. That was because this is EMF 5, which could either be a 5, a 4, or a 3. In this case, it became 5, and then it did another thing, which was also 5. So yeah, this is an extremely obvious case of EMF 5. So basically, what I'm looking for, because of the way the ghost interacts with the environment. Let's go in there. I'm not gonna stare at the screen the whole time. People are gonna be annoyed by that. Because obviously, I also want to figure out the ghost. What you need to keep in mind is that EMF 4 is extremely rare. You will almost never see EMF 4. The only thing that can actually give you an EMF 4 is a ghost event. Nothing else. Obviously, with anything I explain here, especially relating to the activity chart, this all goes completely out the window. I'm just gonna pick that up. If it's hunt time. If there's a hunt, everything goes to, or the activity immediately goes to 10, and that has nothing to do with the actual EMF that's happening in the building. It's just because it's a hunt, it goes to 10. I think I heard something over here. So we're gonna come back to the activity chart as well. Why do I always start with the EMF? If you see me play the game, you know that I always start with an EMF, because this is a good example. I hear a sound. I think it's coming from somewhere here. We see the EMF 5 right here. I will run, so I hear a sound. The way I find the ghost room is like this. Let me turn on the slide so we don't lose any sanity. I walk into the house. I talking about random bullshit. I'll be listening while I'm doing that, while I'm going to turn on the breaker, while I grab the bone. If I hear a sound, I like split the house in two, kind of. Did it come from my left side? Did it come from my right side? Did it come from behind me? Did it come from in front of me? And based on that, I have like, okay, it's either in this quadrant of the map, that quadrant, this quadrant, or this quadrant. And then I'll run to that area and just run around like frantically. Let's say that I hear a door and I think it's in this area of the map, so behind me right here. I'll literally just run in here, go past door, go past door, go past door, go past door, until I see EMF. So basically, my ears are what allow me to find where the general area is of the ghost, and then the EMF allows me to pinpoint exactly where that sound came from. This is like a really good like back and forth that I found really works well for me. Maybe it doesn't work well for you. Maybe you are an absolute like legend with hearing and you can pinpoint exactly the location of a sound at any point. If you are that good at the game, you don't need the EMF at all. So right here we can see that it looks like it did nothing. We definitely heard a bunch of door touches, right? That's what I was talking about. The door touches can actually round down to 0 on the activity chart. So sometimes even when you think you have a really inactive ghost, it might still be doing things, but you're just not seeing it. Which is kind of interesting. It's kind of a weird... I'm not even gonna use the tripod. Who am I kidding? This is so good that we have an EMF 5 ghost here, by the way. All right, let me go through... There's too many interactions in the game to really go through all of them. But let's just go through the top of my head how each interaction... What each interaction is. And, well, let me actually quickly grab all the evidence items. One sec. Alrighty, anyway, I'm assuming it's here, by the way. I don't even know. It was... actually, I'm completely wrong. It's not here. It's in this bathroom. You can see the temperature's going down like crazy. Okay, so I need to set up in here. Also, it touched this door, right? Did it touch this door? Another useful thing you can test. Which the EMF, by the way, it picks it up in a range. So you have to be like kind of walking around to see what actually gave the EMF. Let me first give a tip about that. It's actually really useful and you see me do this all the time. Let's say the ghost throws something. And it throws an item. Let's say that item was just thrown by the ghost. Maybe the ghost will actually do it. That would be so nice. I don't think it's gonna do that, but whatever. If the ghost throws an item, I might not be exactly sure what the item was. And this is especially important for if you're trying to take a photo for filling up the book with good photos and getting the perfect game bonus or something like that. If the ghost throws an item, you need to take the photo of that item. EMF 2. This might be ability, which will be kind of interesting, or it maybe touch the... I don't know what it's doing. Anyway, so let's say there is several items on the ground. There's this, and I heard some... Can I please pick that up? I heard something being thrown. So I need to figure out, and I walk in here, and I get an EMF. how do I know which of these items is actually the one that was thrown and gave EMF? You can figure that out by picking up the items and putting it in your inventory. Because when an item is in your inventory, it doesn't give EMF. If you're holding it out, yes, it gives EMF, I think. But if it's just in your inventory, it won't give EMF. So basically what I will do, you can throw the item on the ground and then pick up items to see which of these, when you put it in your inventory, makes the EMF go away, which will allow you to find what item was thrown, and then you can take a photo of that. Which can also be little niche knowledge, can be particularly useful if you think you heard a poltergeist, because a poltergeist can throw multiple items at once. So if you think you heard a poltergeist ability and there's like a few items on the ground, what you can do is you can pick up one of the items, go over here, throw it on the ground, and then let's say I get EMF. Okay, so there's EMF on this item, and then you can go over here. Wait, there's also EMF on one of these other items. There's 2 items that have EMF attached to them. It must be a poltergeist. Now, obviously, you can also see this if you go back to the activity chart. There will be a really high spike if it was a poltergeist ability, which, by the way, poltergeists kind of ruin all the stuff you know about the activity chart. You think, oh, it's EMF, might be a poltergeist. Same thing with kind of the twins. The twins can do that. There's a few ghosts. That's it. By the way, let me preface that right now, because I should have said it right as I explained this. If you ever see something that looks like EMF 5, looks like a twin interaction, looks like a polter ability, whatever you think you see on the activity chart, use it at your own discretion. Don't go to me. I saw a 4, 5, or 3 spike. I said it was EMF. I knew that it was EMF 5. It was wrong. You're an idiot. No, these are... Even if you're very certain, or these are all completely chance-based. So what you need to do is you need to make certain that you're correct by either confirming it with the EMF or just using context clues. If you see it 5 times in a row, if you 5 times in a row see a big spike of 5, or like 2 times like we just saw, if you see something really clear happening multiple times, yes, you can say with a high level of certainty EMF 5. You hear me say that all the time. I don't know why people come to me, blame me for, oh, I was using the activity chart for EMF 5 and it wasn't correct. Because every time I see EMF 5, I usually say it could be EMF. I have to check that. I do click it in the book to remind myself, oh, I found EMF on the chart. But later on in the mission, you often see me go, well, we don't know exactly if it's EMF 5. I think it is, but we're not exactly sure. So, yeah, keep that in mind, that you might be getting fooled by ghosts with special ability and stuff like that. It's a guide, not a 100% accurate, especially with something like the twin interaction. There are other ghosts that can do stuff like that. Similar with like basically every ghost ability like that. Jesus Christ. The fuck do I have a... Hi! Hello there. I'm gonna turn on that light. Dude, you look kind of terrifying. Urays, you think that when a door closes, it's always a Uray? Not necessarily true. A normal ghost could also touch a door and close it, or touch it even 2 times in a row and close it really fast. I saw dots right there. Dots. It might actually be a wraith. I think we saw a ghost ability earlier. But I was gonna go into every single... Look at this. But this is a good example. Look at this. EMF 4. This could be... this could be both EMF 5 as well as EMF 4. So if you walk outside, I'm like, oh, this looks like EMF 5. No, your brain has to go... before you even consider the possibility of something being EMF 5 on the chart, you have to go through a checklist. Was there someone in the house? Yes, no. If the answer was yes, if that person was you can ask yourself, was there a ghost event, yes or no? If that person wasn't you need to check with your teammate, was there just a ghost event, or just like ditch it, the possibility entirely, because maybe you're not playing with the most professional players and they might not exactly know how to know if something was a ghost event. But if you're seeing a high spike, it could also be a ghost event, because as I said, ghost events are the only thing that can give you EMF 4 on the EMF. Anything like a ghost throwing something, abilities, etc., 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 will all be EMF 3 or EMF 2. So yeah, basically, but to reiterate once again, if I see either a 5 or a 4, and I see that multiple times, I usually go, okay, it's EMF 5. Only if I wasn't in the house to trigger to get a ghost event or something. Which ghost events, by the way, can also sometimes be tricky. Like, you'll get a ghost event and you didn't even really know that it was a ghost event, which happens not very often, but it can happen. But anyway, what can give what EMF? Item throws across the board, all item throws from like the size of the item doesn't matter, the type of item doesn't matter, any single item throw, which is just like something you can also pick up, throw on the ground, that will always give EMF 3. And that is basically the only thing, if I think right now, I think throwing is the only thing that can give EMF 3. So ghost events are the only thing that can give EMF 4. Throwing is the only thing that can give EMF 3. I'm like crunching my head right now thinking, I think that is the case. EMF 2, however, is very common. There's a, well, I guess EMF 3 is the most common because the ghost throws items a ton. I don't think writing in the book gives EMF 3, right? I think writing in the book gives EMF 2. Basically, so ghost events, EMF 4, throw EMF 3, everything else, EMF 2. Basically, that's like the rule of thumb you can use for yourself. It is not a wraith. Look at that. So what is like everything? Like I should explain that a little bit. Door touches, EMF 2. Light switch, EMF 2. Breaker turning off and on, EMF 2. Ghost abilities, EMF 2. Knock on the window, EMF 2. Mannequins rotating or moving away, EMF 2. Teddy bears giggling, EMF 2. I'm just going through what other abilities are there. There are stuff like if there's items that can be used, such as phones, alarm clocks in Sunny Meadows, phones like mobile phones that can buzz, the TV turning on, anything that can turn off and on, all of that, all EMF 2. So EMF 2 is like the most versatile. It's most of the rare things that can happen are all EMF 2. I think when a painting drops on the ground, that is technically like the item being used, but that's also throwing, right? I think that gives EMF 3. So yeah. So basically everything EMF 2, throws EMF 3, ghost events EMF 4, and anything that gives EMF, oh, it turned off the breaker, can always give, wait, where the fuck is my, there it is, can always give EMF 5. The way EMF 5 works is that 25% of the time, if the ghost has EMF evidence and your settings allow it to show it, like if you're playing no evidence, obviously it's not going to show EMF 5. But if you're playing on professional, you're against a ghost that has EMF 5, every time it does anything that gives EMF, there is a 75% chance it'll just show whatever EMF that item has, and a 25% chance that it'll upgrade that to EMF 5. EMF 5 is only an ability, nothing will give EMF 5. Like, and I should also show you, well, I guess I can explain it. If you have the tier 1 EMF, it's really important to keep in mind that if you see it hit, like, so the tier 1, right, you know it's the like Geiger counter looking thing with like the like speedometer looking gauge that goes back and forth a bit like erratically. If there's EMF 4 or EMF 3, sometimes it'll move so erratically that it'll actually hit EMF 5 like visually, or if there's a hunt going on, it'll go like crazy. Even this one will go crazy and show EMF 5, or like we'll go to EMF 5, go back and forth. That is not EMF 5. Anything during a hunt, or let me explain the tier 1 first. The EMF 5 on the tier 1 is only when it goes above the 5. When it makes a very loud tick, 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 tick sound, and it goes above the 5 into the high area. That's when it's EMF 5, not when it just like touches it for a brief moment. And then speaking of hunts or ghost events, during a hunt or a ghost event, and you're close to the ghost will be messing with your items. This will mean that you cannot possibly ever see EMF 5 during either a ghost event or a hunt, especially during a hunt. If there is an EMF 5, let's say the ghost throws this picture, I have EMF 5. If the ghost then starts a hunt, I will not see EMF 5 off of that. I think even, it's really hard to test this because obviously the ghost is going to start close to where it throws something. Even if the ghost walks away and there's no like disturbance happening, I don't think you can even get EMF 5. It's just like impossibility to get EMF 5. As soon as the hunt is over, you can get EMF. For example, if the ghost touches a door during a hunt, you cannot get EMF 5 off of that. Oh, Jesus Christ. Creepy. But if the hunt ends, then you... Oh my god, Jesus Christ, you're crazy. This is probably... Did you see EMF 4 here? That's the only way you can get EMF 4 is by getting a ghost of it. I'm assuming my sanity is destroyed because this is probably an Oni. It's definitely not a Goryo. My sanity definitely got super blasted. I was standing in the light the whole time. Now we're at 50. That's fine. We're just gonna grab... I guess I could grab that, but I'm just gonna grab this. Crucifix being used, EMF 2, by the way. Candle being blown out, EMF 2, just to give a few more examples. Dots does not give EMF 2. Fun fact about dots, dots used to give EMF 2, which was insanely OP against Goryos, because if you just threw an EMF on the dots projector and you suddenly got EMF 2, you knew it was a Goryo because the EMF is coming off of the dots projector. We didn't see it. Boom, it's a Goryo. So they removed the EMF from the dots projector because it made Goryos like super, super easy. Salt does not give EMF 2. Cursed possessions, or the Ouija board, I should say, being used gives EMF 2. Even if you break it, I mean, if you break it, it starts a hunt, so it goes all the way up to 10. But EMF 2 is just like basically anything. If you ask yourself, what EMF does this give? Is it a throw? Is it a ghost event? If both of those answers are no, it's basically always going to be EMF 2. That's just the way it works, unless something doesn't give an EMF value, such as... Oh, God. Well, here we go. It's not a... I need to run. Oh, God. I'm gonna die. Dude, this is where the slow EMF, or slow smudge stick actually helped me so much. Holy shit. I think it's an Oni. Can't really say, though. Now, the ghost can throw items during a hunt. As far as I know, if the hunt is over, it will not... Those will not give EMF in any way. You can take a photo, which that is actually kind of unfortunate. If the ghost throws an item, let's say you're like looping it around here. Can you please not be so annoying? If it throws a bunch of items in the kitchen, you cannot take photos of those things to fill up your entire book. Anything that's thrown during a hunt will not give you an interaction photo in the book. I think I'm just gonna... I mean, that was obviously not a Raichu. It's obviously not a Wraith, so we're just gonna say this is an Oni. Get the hell out of here. Which, what would be Oni? Would that not be... Oh, it's just probably freezing. All right, anyway. Yeah, that is... Look at all these spikes, by the way. It's soupy, I would say so. I didn't get the firelight. Anyway, it's way easier. I was like, I have this like internalized what gives what EMF, but the mnemonic device is so much easier. Everything EMF 2, throws EMF 3, ghost events EMF 4, special ability EMF, or evidence EMF 5. Super easy that way. All right, we're gonna hop back in. And let's just do Tanglewood once again. I think Tanglewood. Let's just stick to Tanglewood so we can mostly talk about stuff. So yeah, you can get photos, interaction photos. Now, interaction photos used to be way more important than they are right now. Because, I mean, Salt has always been OP ever since they added that, or made it work. By the way, fun fact, when the game first came out, Salt photos were not a thing. The only thing you could take a photo of was the footsteps after the ghost steps in the Salt. Now, you can just take a photo of the Salt itself. That's actually relatively new, which is kind of, you wouldn't, if you haven't played since then, you might be like, what the hell? Yeah, a lot of stuff didn't make sense. By the way, I'm frozen right now. The photo system... is gonna get a rework relatively soon, because they're gonna make it so that you can delete photos that aren't 3-star, which is amazing. The amount of times, literally like 50% of all posts on the Reddit of Phasmo right now, I don't know why my game is frozen this long, 50% of the posts on the Reddit right now are just people being like, why is this not a ghost photo? Why is this not a bone photo? I am... What the fuck? Hello? There we go. Jesus Christ. It's just because it's snow weather. Of course, I was frozen because of the snow weather. That was insanely long. I broke the game. Okay, so once again, let's find the ghost room properly this time. We walk in, turn on the EMF. Another thing really annoying about the EMF specifically, I don't understand this. Every other item, such as the spirit box, the paramic, stuff like that, I think the spirit box I know for sure. If you put it in your inventory while it's on, if you take it back out, it turns on again. It's on because it was on when you put it in your inventory, it's on when you take it out. Let me show that real quick how that looks like for the spirit box. Is it actually also... Wait, I need to test it for this. Yeah, look at that. It's on. So spirit box, turn it on, put it in my inventory, take it out again. It's still on. For some unknown reason, I have no idea why. Like, it's just... Like, Phasmo is like spaghetti to the core. Like spaghetti code to the core. The fact that there is a different way that works between every single electronic item is so insanely stupid. Like, why isn't it the same for every electronic item? If you put it on in your inventory, it's on when you take it out. It just doesn't make any sense that it's different. But for some reason, when you put the EMF in your inventory and you take it back out, it's off. So you need to keep in mind that you should turn it on every time. This is actually something I forget all the time when I use the tier 1 thermo or a tier 1 EMF, because it's a little bit less clear when that's turned on. There's like a red light, which is pretty clear, but because I haven't used the item a lot, it's I miss it sometimes. So yeah, just keep that in mind. I don't know why that's the thing. Anyway, the ghost is not doing much, so we're gonna use the mirror. Okay, well, that's because it's literally right here. That's another important thing and an important factor of finding the ghost room and finding the ghost room by sound and EMF. If you find the ghost room with freezing temps, like let's say you're using a thermo, I walk into the ghost room, temperature goes down, I know this is the ghost room. But if you use sound, you need to keep a few things in mind. The ghost, the way it interacts with items is... Let me just go to let's start at the very beginning. The Big Bang. No. The ghost in this game is always present. It is not like an entity that's floating in the house and only like shows up during ghost events and hunts. No, it's literally always there. It's just invisible. It's walking around in this area right now physically. That's why motion sensors and stuff can detect the ghost, because it's literally just walking around, going here, going there, deciding to randomly walk around in the area. And when it's standing somewhere, it has a circle around it. Fuck you. Is that a ghost event? That is a ghost event. I'm gonna run away. See that airball? If you don't get touched by the airball, it won't drop your sanity, so that's why I'm running away. Also, that means no Oni. Something everyone knows, but I just might as well while we're here. So the ghost is standing somewhere. It's interacting. It can interact in a circle around this. This circle will go through walls. So if you have a room that is very empty, this is the perfect example for me. There's a lot of different rooms on different maps that are empty, such as the Ridgeview bathroom on the first floor in that hallway. That's another really good example of this. If you turn on the TV, which should give EMF 2 here. Look at that, EMF 2. Anything turning on and off is usually EMF 2. If you have a room that's very empty, you need to be careful. Because the ghost, if let's say the ghost is standing here, it can interact in a circle around itself. Because this room is very empty, when it decides to do something, it decides to do an interaction. It can touch this door. It can touch that door. Or it can throw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different items that are all in its like sphere of influence. It can ring the phone. It can touch this light switch, probably touch that light switch, touch this door. Is that a ghost event? Thank you for showing me. So it can touch all those things. Jesus Christ, it's breaking the lights, you piece of garbage. I'm trying to do my thing here. So, okay, this goes. So, if you get a lot of things to happen in a room, that doesn't mean that's the ghost room. You can grab a thermo, or you can like use your brain if you get interactions here, there, maybe even through the wall over here. Like, let's say this painting falls on the ground. So it's all in a circle around this room. You should maybe go like, oh, wait a minute, I'm either like dealing with the twins or something, which can interact in a huge range, or this right here is the ghost room. And it's just like interacting with a lot of other stuff because this room is so empty. In this case, if we have this room, a lot of the time you'll get it to throw something on this desk here, and then people will go, oh, it's master bedroom. No, it's not. It's actually in the living room. Those are just things that you need to like learn for every single map. I'm not gonna go through every single map in this video because this is not necessary. I could make a guide about finding the ghost room, best ways to find the ghost room, different ways to find the ghost room. If you want to see that, let me know. This is a thing. If you see like a huge activity mountain and none of them are big spikes, you can usually rule out EMF actually, because you're like, well, every single one of these little things that could have happened can give me EMF 5. You do have to be careful of that, by the way. Once you reach the top, obviously the activity can go above 10. And this is something that's like, it's like so second nature. I don't even think about this anymore, but I guess it does require saying. When I say, if you see an activity of 5 or 4, that's probably EMF 5. That doesn't mean that if you see a mountain built up of a bunch of different spikes that reaches up to 5, that has nothing to do with EMF 5. When I say a spike of 4 or 5, I mean an individual spike. It goes from to 4 higher, 5 higher. Or if it's already an existing mountain, like let's say you have a little bit of, you have like 1 spike of activity here, 1 spike of activity here, and then boom, it goes up 5, and then it goes flat, and then down, down, down. I'm talking about the individual spikes, which I guess, I don't know. I have run into a few people that have gotten confused by that, so I thought I would say it, even though I would assume it's extremely clear that that's the case, because otherwise it doesn't make any sense. What was I saying? So yeah, be careful with finding the ghost room. Also, this ghost is touching freaking is touching the breaker non-stop. It might be some kind of Hantu or something, which is annoying. Stop that, please. The sanity system is so insanely broken. Make sure to turn on the breaker as much as possible. Another thing, let's talk about hidden abilities that give EMF and where you should look for the EMF, because I think that's kind of a neat little thing to know. If you have a Wraith. So first of all, hidden abilities are, you turn on the brake or turn on the light, not a mirror. Hidden abilities are something that is not explained in the game, but it is something that a ghost can do. That is like, so it's like an active interaction that it decides to do, and it has some effect on the player. For the Wraith, there's a hidden ability that it teleports towards some random player. When it does this, it'll give an EMF on the like teleport location. Like it'll teleport to you and it'll do EMF on your location. So a lot of the time, if you're just walking around, especially on big maps, or if you're walking around on like sunny meadows and suddenly no sound, nothing, no door touch, no light switch, suddenly you get EMF 2 on your EMF, you're like, wait a minute, that was probably a Wraith, a Phantom, a Banshee. Anyway, just talking only of a Wraith right now. So that is like something you can know. Other abilities, the Phantom is a little tricky. Banshee is also a little tricky. It's writing in the book. Look at that. Writing in the book, EMF 2. As long as it's not a throw, it's not a ghost event, it's gonna give you EMF 2. Very simple. So we got ghost writing. Thank you very much. The Phantom and Banshee are a little tricky. They are similar to the Wraith. So these are kind of grouped together because they roam towards the player. The Wraith can teleport to any player. The Phantom can decide to walk to any player, and the Banshee can decide to walk to its target. So only the target. If you're playing solo, that doesn't make a difference because you're always the target. But in multiplayer, this can matter. If it like constantly is or walking towards a specific player, which by the way, I'm going on. There's just so many little things about this game that are complex that as soon as I start talking, I'll get lost in the sauce so much. But by the way, ghost events for Banshees do not target the target necessarily. This is just a myth. A ghost event is just something that the ghost does against any player that's nearby. It doesn't have a higher likelihood to do this on the target itself. That is something that, yeah, it keeps turning off the break in the gym, but we know that. That is just some myth that people keep thinking. However, obviously, because the Banshee can be stalking its target, the target is always close to the ghost. So, holy fuck, you are actually making me lose my mind. This is insane. Can it be? It can't even be a Hantu. That's unbelievable. What the fuck? So yeah, regardless. For the Phantom and the Banshee, it's a little complicated because as far as I know from experience, the EMF that they give shows up on the ghost itself. Why is that significant? Because the ghost will decide, I'm using my ability right now, I'm going to walk towards the player or a random player or my target. That will give EMF at that moment. It'll start walking towards the target, and since EMF only lasts 20 seconds, right? EMF is did you see dots? I didn't see dots. I was looking at the camera. It's a Dio or a Thay. Probably a Thay here. Well, I guess it could be a Dio as well. What is this? Ghost orbs, right? Ghost orbs. Let's check. Sorry, I'm getting confused here. I'm assuming it's gonna be Spirit box. Where are you? Are you here? Are you close? Where are you?
Was taken away.
There we go. So we do indeed have spirit box. It's a Dio. All right, well, we're gonna leave this one then. Just going into another one and keeping talking. So because EMF only shows up for, let's see, it is exactly 20 seconds, right? This is actually kind of a important thing. So yeah, EMF always shows up for 20 seconds. Sometimes it seems like it shows up for a little longer. I think that's just, I don't know, it's just the way things stack. So in this case, this does not mean EMF 5. You see a 3 spike, a 1 spike, and a 2 spike. You need to, like, when you see a mountain like this, you need to, like, dissect it and analyze each individual interaction rather than look at the whole mountain as one picture. That's very important. Just thought I'd share that. So yeah, obviously Dio. Oh, wait, whoa. Oh no, I thought it was Thomas Wilson. Never mind. I thought it was Thomas Wilson. That would have been the first time in, I don't know, a year at this point that I've seen Thomas Wilson on Tanglewood. But sadly, that wasn't the case. It's the ghost or Thomas Wilson is the name that used to be, I think they removed it. That used to be on the computer screen in the boys' bedroom in that map. Regardless, we're going back. So because EMF only shows up for 20 seconds at the time, if a Banshee is far away from you, it might take it longer than 20 did I say 20 minutes? I meant 20 seconds. I don't know if I said that wrong. Because the Mimic might take longer than 20 seconds to walk towards you. By the time it reaches you, the EMF is already gone. And this is assuming that the EMF moves with the ghost, which I don't necessarily know. It might just show up where the ghost starts its roam and then, like, not leave that area. I actually, even after having played it 2,000 hours, I don't really know that. I don't often tend to get EMF 2 against a Banshee randomly. So I think it might just only show up where the ghost starts its roam. It's just, like... You should just keep it in mind. If you get random EMF 2, you can go Wraith, Phantom, Banshee. Those are like the go-to for that. There's a boner right away. I'm gonna pick that out. There's more abilities that give EMF. The Ure will touch a door and drain your sanity. So it'll close the door completely and drain some of your sanity. Obviously, because it touches a door, that also gives EMF. But there's actually a little trick. It's just better to listen. The Ure ability can be a little tricky to figure out. But if you have the tier 3 EMF sensor, you can actually see when it does the... Hi. Jesus. When it does the Ure ability, that if you have the tier 3, it'll show you up to the 3 latest EMFs. It'll show you... Oh my god, can you please... I'm trying to live my life. It'll show you the oldest 3 EMFs, I think. So if it touches a door and it did a Ure ability, you can see that there's multiple, like, arrows pointing to the door because it was technically a stack of 2 different interactions that built up that door touch. Once again, here you see a big spike. You might go, oh, look at that, nice. It's an you can see it here, by the way, as well. This is EMF 5, but it's obviously not because it was 2 ghost events. You can see it here. This ghost event was EMF 4. Because it's a ghost event, but it only gave a 3 activity. This ghost event, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, was also just EMF 4, but it gave me a 5 spike. So this is like the lower range for EMF 4, and this is the higher range for EMF 4. And the other one would be that it just literally gave you a 4. So yeah, that is once if we get a 3. So when you see something like this, how do you analyze this? This could either be because I'm not in the room, because I'm not in the house, it can't be a ghost event. So it either is an EMF 3, like a throw, that ended up being 1 higher, like it just randomly became 1 higher and showed me EMF 3, or it's an EMF 5 that went, or an EMF 5, which is usually 4, that went 1 lower. So there's 2 options. That's why a 3 spike is not necessarily something you should rely on, because it could either be an EMF 3 that gets rounded up or an EMF 5 that gets rounded down. So that's why I only tend to look at EMF or activity 4 and activity 5 spikes, because those do not overlap with the possibility for an EMF 3. Those only overlap with the possibility of it being a ghost event, EMF 4, which if you're not in the house, it cannot do a ghost event, so you don't have to worry about that. Now, this has been this way. The activity chart and the way you read it has been this way for 2 years now. Like, it's been this way for incredibly long. It is subject to change. If they ever add more abilities or something, it might be different, but then I'll make a video about this. As long as this video is live without any like pinned comments down below, it's all accurate. It's all completely accurate. So you don't have to worry about like looking at any of my later guides, like do they contradict this one? No, it's all fine. Because this has been I've literally at this point made the same video 3 times over 2 years, because it's such an important thing to know. And it's something that it's a really important thing to know, and it has never changed. So yeah, I have just been making the same video, but that's totally fine by me. Is this actually the ghost room, or did it just do ghost events? Let me give you a little, I'm gonna be talking more about the hidden ability, but let me give you a little bit of a tip about ghost events. Ghost events are, so as I said, the ghost will just be walking around invisible, right? It will be walking around doing whatever it wants to do. Sometimes it'll roam out of the room, sometimes it'll come back. I think it threw something here. Did it? I heard something. Anyway, so it'll just be minding its business. If it starts a hunt, it'll start from where the invisible ghost is at that time. There's a huge exception. A ghost event will teleport the ghost. That it's just something that is just the way the game works. It would probably be less confusing if there's a world out there, a separate dimension where the ghost events only start from where the ghost is at that position, but that's not the universe we live in. The universe we live in is where a ghost will decide to do a ghost event, and it'll then teleport to whatever player it decided to target and do something there. So it's just well, that's another edge case. The rule of Phasmo is that for every single rule there's 100 edge cases, which is why I've been able to build a career of talking about this game for like 3 years now, because there's just so much to know that there will always be people that want to learn something new, and there's always something to talk about because this game is so fucking confusing. Bitch, I appreciate that. Thank you, Phasmo, for being so goddamn confusing. I don't think this is actually the ghost room. So it did 2 ghost events in this room, right? That means it teleported to me. What does that mean? It meant that it was relatively close enough to me for me to be in its like sphere of influence. However, the sphere of influence for a ghost event is far larger than the sphere of influence for interactions. So if you get a ghost event in this room, that absolutely does not mean, and in this case it's a perfect example, it does not mean that the ghost is in this room. It can very well mean that the ghost is in the kitchen, in the laundry, even living room, even over there, maybe even the boys' bedroom. It could be really far away, and you need to be careful of like going tunnel visioning. Jesus Christ, this ghost is annoying. Tunnel visioning on a specific area because you've been getting a lot of ghost events. What you have to keep in mind, or what's really good to know, is that when the ghost does a ghost event, this does actually like a physical ghost event, not that airball right there. That is just like a special thing that doesn't, it's not necessarily connected to the ghost. If it like physically shows itself, that teleports the ghost. If let's say the ghost room is the hallway right there, which is really close to this. If the ghost does a physical ghost event right here, that means it literally teleported the ghost to here, and after the ghost event is over, it'll be there. It'll be there, and it'll start walking again from there, which usually what happens immediately if it's not in the ghost room is it's here, it did its ghost event, and it's gonna walk back through the doors to the ghost room. Ghosts cannot go through walls, by the way, unless they're teleporting for ghost events. They cannot, not even the Wraith. That's one of those like common myths. Wraiths cannot go through doors, or well, they can go through doors, but every ghost can go through doors, but they cannot walk through walls. Anyway, it's probably here. Yeah, so you can see this. The ghost is actually here. The temperature is going down, but it was doing ghost events right there because this room is very close. Because once again, ghosts can interact with you through walls. Don't get that twisted. Don't be messed up by that. And this is a perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You see how it's there? It's really far away from the ghost room, right? But I am relatively close to the ghost room. So I was close enough. The ghost was like, all right, do a ghost event. And then it just like calculates a random ghost event, which basically, so the ghost can like jump really far. The ghost can jump really far. It can detect that you're close enough for a ghost event, and then it does a ghost event in a circle around you, which then can suddenly make the ghost teleport from there to here, and oh my god, and be all the way over there. Go fuck yourself, sir. Walk with me. You are absolutely nuts. I'm gonna leave. This place is here. Yeah, an active ghost can be roaming and teleporting a lot, which is very annoying. Once again, look at that difference. You see an EMF 4 from the ghost event, or you see an activity 4 from the ghost event, and you see an activity 5 from a ghost event. That's just the different things. Let me take whatever. What's my sanity? My sanity's still so good. What the fuck? It's like that, and this. What's really useful about the ghost teleporting for ghost events is that you know it's there at that moment for a little bit. So you can grab your spirit box, you can talk to the ghost because you know it physically teleported to that area to do that ghost event. So you can then talk to it and get the spirit box response potentially. EMF 3 must have thrown something. However, for an airball, that's different. An airball does not mean the ghost teleported to that area. The ghost doesn't teleport when it's doing an airball. That's just something confusing. As I said, there's always edge cases. This, I am going to... That was just really delayed by me. EMF 4. Writing in the book, we're... Ah! Jesus! Oh, it's fast. My brother in Christ. Oh, of course, it's just a Thay again. That makes a lot of sense, unless it's... Oh boy. It's a normal hunt, so I can actually loop it for probably a while. Can I? I should actually not do that. Okay, that was very stupid. I think it is probably a Thay, which means we're gonna see dots. Is that an early hunt? I think that was even an early hunt. Was that not... Wait, didn't we just have a Thay as well? What the hell? I love how these videos always get derailed by a crazy ghost. Yeah, that was totally a Thay. Alrighty. I need to... Next round, I really need to talk about the ghost abilities. So poltergeists are the activity chart destroyers. Can also be a Raichu, but it can't be a Raichu. Right? Dios can't hunt that early. It should be a Thay, unless I'm like losing my mind. Yeah, there you go. Thank you for giving me the EMF, the EMF 3. We can talk about that one now. So for the EMF 1, you have to keep in mind that, let me show you. For the EMF 1, you have to keep in mind that if it only really counts as EMF 5 if it goes all the way to the end, right? That's what I meant earlier. Let's do EMF, have the EMF tier 3 now, which is actually a way, it's an insanely powerful item, the tier 3 version of the EMF. So, we talked about the teleporting ghosts, or the wandering ghosts. Those can give EMF. Another ghost that can give EMF was the Yurei, as I said. The Jinn used to be a really cool ghost before, where it would... So the Jinn has a hidden ability where it drains your sanity by 25% when it decides to use its ability. It can only do this when the breaker is on. And when it did that, it would give you EMF 2 on the ghost's location. So if you were in the ghost room and you suddenly got an EMF 2 without anything happening, that was probably a Jinn. Or it was a Wraith. You could like use that to detect the Jinn ability being used. However, for some godforsaken reason, this was a bug. Apparently, this is not how it's supposed to work. The way it's supposed to work, which is how it works now, is that the Jinn, when it does its ability, gives an EMF 2 on the breaker itself. So they've changed it now to where if the Jinn decides to drain your sanity by 25%, it'll give an EMF on the breaker, which is basically completely useless because the breaker usually isn't close to where you are. Unless the ghost room is like right next to the breaker or in the room with the breaker, this is not going to be a useful trick. You can use it if it is close to the ghost room, because then what you can do is throw an EMF on the breaker. If you hear an EMF 2, you know it could be a Jinn using its ability. You could even go as far... I think this should work. I think this works because... Let me actually test this. If you place a sound sensor, there's a new ability of the sound sensor, which is that you can hear it. You can hear the sounds that it picks up from the truck. So if I place it next to a dots projector, which gives this constant buzzing noise, I should be able to hear it from here. No. No? Yes, no? I can hear the... Wait a minute. I can't really test this with the EMF. Can I hear it? I don't think I can hear it. Maybe I should place 2 of them. I guess it would if I had the dots projector 3 here. The spirit box is a good one. Spirit box is a good one. That's way louder. We should be able to hear that, right? If I drop that right next to it, we should be able to hear that just fine. Let's see. Science happening right now, or is this not going to pick it up? No, it doesn't pick it up. So it doesn't... What? But, huh? So the paramic picks up these sounds, but the sound sensor doesn't. Okay, well, that makes the sound sensor not useful for what I was going to suggest is you can place an EMF on the breaker, place a sound sensor next to it, and then if you have a truck dwelling person, they can listen in the truck if it ever picks up the EMF too, but it doesn't do it. It's definitely not because of the rain. We would be able to hear it. It picks up dots tier 3. All right, well, then I don't understand anything anymore, but regardless. So yeah, if it were to work that way, you could do that trick, but apparently it doesn't work. I was just talking about that. So yeah, the Jinn ability, you're basically never gonna pick up the EMF2 from that. Poltergeist ability also gives EMF2, but you're never gonna see that because there's so many items that are thrown around at the same time as well. There might as well not be EMF2, which there might even not be because I've just never seen it, but I'm assuming it does. It's just hidden by all the EMF3, because that's the thing. If you have a door touch and an item throw in the same exact spot, you will get EMF3. It's not going to stack on the device itself. It's not going to show you, like if you have a tier 2 EMF, not the tier 3, obviously, then it will show you the two different ones. But if you have a tier 2 or tier 1, it'll just show you the highest one. It won't stack them up together to build up an EMF 5 from two small interactions. That's not how that works. So if you have a throw and something else happen that's less EMF, it'll just show EMF 3. Other abilities, Mare can turn off the light. If you turn it on and it turns it off immediately, that's a Mare ability, which, by the way, any ghost can do that randomly. So once again, use at your own discretion, but that will give EMF. The Demon Early Hunt will probably give EMF, but because it's a hunt, you're never going to see that, so it doesn't matter. Yokai Early Hunt, same thing when you're talking. Myling doesn't have anything. Raichu doesn't have anything. Moroi doesn't have anything. Dio, nope. Thay, nope. Obake. I don't think the Obake hidden ability, which is that it reduces the time of all the fingerprints on the map by 50%. So if the Obake is touching a bunch of doors, those doors are all have fingerprints on them. What the Obake can do is take... So when a door gets touched and there's a fingerprint, that fingerprint will stay there for 2 minutes. And the timer will go down as soon as it gets placed. The Obake can decide to cut the existing timer. Let's say it's been there for 20 seconds, so there's 100 seconds remaining. It can cut that in half, so it makes it 50 seconds from that point onwards. That is the hidden ability of the Obake. If you check the Obake, like, ability screen after the match, and also the blinking or the changing during the hunt is also an ability, but whatever. That, I don't think that gives EMF. I've never really noticed that, at least. Yurei, I already talked about. Hantu doesn't have anything that gives EMF. Phantom already talked about. Jin already talked about. Shade doesn't have anything. Oni doesn't have anything that give EMF. Goryo used to, doesn't anymore. Twins, once again, very unique ghost. I was hoping we'd see a twin here, but we're probably not going to see that, but that's okay. Twins are another ghost that have an interaction with the activity chart. And this is one, once again, that you need to take with a grain of salt because every ghost can do this. This is one of those that people, like, so vastly misunderstand. The way it works is that if you see a line, so you know how I've been talking about spikes, right? Spikes are this like line that goes up and then it plateaus again. That's what I call a spike. If you see a line that goes up but halfway through it changes slopes, this means that two interactions happened extremely close together. So close together, in fact, that they basically happened in the same second and they didn't plateau in between. There was no like time where it was like calm for a second and then the second thing happened. No, it was so close together that it became one line that went up, which can fool you into thinking it's EMF 5, for example. This is an ability of the twins. But that doesn't mean that every time you see that, it's definitely the twins. If you have the twins and they do into interaction, you will see that because a twin interaction, that's what we've called it, one interaction will happen and then within half a second, another interaction will also happen, thus being so close together that you'll see this slope change that I'm talking about. However, Any other ghost can also just do things very close together randomly. If you have an active Oni, an active Fae, just a crazy ghost, or especially if you've placed a candle, because the ghost can blow out a candle and then immediately throw something, which will give 2 EMF. The ghost can turn off the breaker, immediately throw something. You could be using the Ouija board, and then the ghost can throw something at the same time, making it look like EMF or twin interaction when it's actually not. There's so many edge cases that could make it look like something is a twin interaction when it actually isn't. You just need to like get good at it. I guess I should. Get good is my biggest tip. But if you see it several times and you also are using your brain and you have like, well, the ghost was already acting in this really large area, it was doing like lots of interactions far away, that didn't make much sense, I thought I heard it be faster or slower during the hunt, like all these things can add up together to make you come to the conclusion, yes, this is a twin. Don't go off of one speculative like observation you make. Just make multiple observations and come to a conclusion, because or after you've done that. I should really go in here and try to find the ghost now. So yeah, shortest guide, get good. Turn this shit off. Wait, did they take that away again? Didn't they make it so that you can turn off things when they're on the ground? I can't. Wait, huh? They made it so that you can turn them off again, right? Well, or turn them off and on. Why can't I do that anymore? Did that just get randomly removed in one of the only certain items? Not all items and tiers? Are you kidding me? They forgot it? Oh my god. That is, like, I know I joke about that a lot. That Phasmo is like a mess of spaghetti code. That's a perfect example of something that should never exist. Like, I can't... The fact that you can only turn on some tiers, like it should just all be the exact same line of code. Like turning on an item, you should just have to change one line that you can turn it on without it being in your hand. It should be super easy. It should be one code change, but instead they have like different methods for everything, single different item, and every single different item they have to manually go through. Okay, this one you can turn on by clicking on it. This one you can turn on by clicking on it. This one you can. This one you can. This one you can. Like, why individually assign this property to every single one of your items rather than just having it inherit from some kind of controller, and then like that controller just like you have to change one line, turn it on by clicking on it. It just doesn't make any sense. Maybe the tier 2 you can, I don't know, or maybe they just remove this entirely from the game. Look at this, they removed this entirely from the game, but it was there for a little bit. It used to be there for all items, then they took it away because people were apparently trolling you. The tier 3 you can, I can't turn this off and on by clicking on it. I'm clicking it, you can hear my spam, right? Not doing that. All right, it's in here. Look at that. You can see, so with the tier 2 or with the tier 3, you can see multiple values, and you can see like an arrow that gets pointed towards it. The tier 3 EMF is incredible. But the tier 3, so with the dots you can't. The dots you can turn off and on like this. Spirit box you can't. Why? No one knows. Why that works individually for all items, no one knows. Anyway, so yeah, don't immediately go off of EMF that you see on the chart, or two interactions you see off the chart. Just use your noggin. That's all I'm asking. I'm asking you, like, I try my best with every single time I explain something to explain it in a way that like every level of expertise can understand it. But it's hard for me to nail that every time. Sometimes I explain something in a way that maybe like veteran players immediately understand what I'm saying, but newer players might not. And I try my best not to do that, but sometimes I will. So all I'm asking is you to interact with my guides in good faith and be like, okay, like don't go running with assumption based on things I've said. Just listen to the words I'm saying, and like don't take them as gospel and like absolute certainty. I find it like incredibly cringe. I've seen some people like argue with the moderators from the Phasmo Discord themselves and use in their argumentation, well, but Insym said this. I didn't say that. You just misunderstood what I said, and now you're making me look bad in front of my friends, you idiot. I didn't, first of all. But yeah, don't ever go into an argument saying Insym said this. Go test it yourself. Like, God forbid you might have to do some research for yourself on the internet. What an absolute new concept to be invented here. And obviously part of that research can be listening to streamers, but don't go use it as gospel and like as arguments that you use against other people. It just makes me feel very bad. All right, so we have UV here, by the way, obviously. Let me see. I've talked about every single hidden ability that gives an EMF, which I think the twin interaction might also give you EMF too, but once again, because it's also throwing something at the same time, you can't separate those out unless you have the tier 3 EMF, so you're only gonna see the EMF 3, which means that it's basically meaningless. The EMF 2 from hidden abilities is, I use it very rarely. I use it for Wraith all the time, but that's basically the only one. It touched the phone, EMF 2. Once again, every single thing that's not a throw gives EMF 2, and you can see multiples at the same time with this one right here, which makes it really, really good for separating out those like smaller interactions. Lots of touches. Lots of stuff going on. Talk to you. Where are you? Are you here? Are you close? Where are you? Are you here? Are you close? Are you friendly? Are you French? Where are you? Hello? Where are you? Are you here? Are you close? Are you friendly? Are you French? Are you pizza? You can't really rule out a spirit box immediately because the ghost has to be in the same room as you are, which if it even does like a tiny step out of the room, you're not going to get or spirit box anymore. So keep that in mind. We have dots. Okay, then dots. Phantom Banshee, no Goryo, because we saw the dots. Phantom Banshee, wait a minute. We haven't had, that's interesting. We haven't had any EMF 2 while being in this area. So I think this can basically, unless this probably either has to be a Phantom, or we have just discovered that the ability of the Banshee does not give EMF at all. Because if you look in the stats at the end of the game, you can see that the Banshee uses its ability like almost every single minute. The Banshee doesn't leave EMF. Yeah, I think that is indeed the case. I think the Banshee ability doesn't leave EMF. I've just never seen it. I just assume it's like I've said it 3 times in this video. Once again, spaghetti code of Phasmo coming through. Like instead of there being some kind of general rule to anything in this game, it's all just one like amalgamation of edge cases that you have to like slowly learn over time. Like the fact that the Wraith leaves EMF when doing a special ability on the location it teleports to, but the Banshee and the Phantom don't. And then the Ure leaves EMF where, I think it does at least, where it like does its ability. Jin doesn't. It leaves it at the breaker. Like all of these fucking things are so separated for no reason. So yeah, just the only one I know for sure is Wraith. When it teleports, gives the EMF 2. Jin does it on the breaker. Those are the only 2 that I can know for sure after seeing it. What just happened? Was that a door touch? Yeah, I guess. The EMF. Can it throw anything? Not in here. You can throw in items, obviously, to help it have more stuff to throw it. Phantom does EMF 2 as well. If the Phantom and the Banshee have to do the same thing, right? Their ability is like functionally the exact same ability. How could one give EMF 2 and the other not? That doesn't make any sense. That would be completely ridiculous. What are we? So we're gonna just take get a hunt, I guess. That would be so stupid. If that hunt, do we need to do anything? Crucifix motion sensor. I'll grab a motion sensor. No, the paramic. The paramic ability gives EMF. I don't know. I don't think so. Because the way that the paramic works is that it's basically doing it all the time. You just have to be picking it up. Like it's whispering. Sometimes when you pick up the paramic, it'll immediately whisper because it was just whispering at that time, and you picked up the paramic at the exact same moment. It's not related to the like it doesn't only whisper when you're holding a paramic. It whispers. You just have to pick it up. I could actually wait a minute. We could do the Phantom thing where we take a photo of the dots, and then if the dots disappears, it's a Phantom. Because that's like a neat little trick. Can you give me a sign? Let me think. Have I missed anything? Oh. Nope. It's a 3-star though somehow. Have I missed anything? I don't think I have. I think the activity chart is extremely powerful to know. Just... I think I'll like summarize it once more after we know what goes to this. to like summarize once again, just to really nail it home, because it can be high. It's a banshee. Look at that. So probably does indeed. What does that mean for banshee? That means ghost orbs. Wait, what? Do I not have the ghost room here? Oh, there's just orbs. All right, well, never mind then. Goodbye, ghost. Okay, so let's do the... Yeah, we can take salt fuzz and everything, but it doesn't matter. Let's do the talking about the activity chart one more time. So the activity chart, it is a representation of the EMF activity in the house. Like it's literally one-to-one related to each other. It's just that there is a slight obfuscation happening in the middle. There's a slight randomness. Like the board, as I said at the beginning, used to show a one-to-one EMF in the house. One-to-one shows you the activity on the activity chart, but that was really strong and would lead to people immediately knowing that it was EMF 5. So then they changed it and added this slight randomization. So EMF 1, I can't really show you here because I don't have the EMF tier 2. That's the best example. EMF 1 means nothing because that just means I can show you because I have an EMF right here. Look how if you have an EMF, any EMF device, you turn it on, this light right here doesn't mean that I'm gonna get hunted by a demon right now. That just means that the device is turned on. It just shows you that the light is turned on, and that doesn't mean anything. It has detected nothing. As soon as it goes beyond 1, as soon as it goes to 2, 3, 4, 5, that's when you know there's activity happening. So EMF 1 is EMF is 0 activity because it means nothing. It just means you have turned on your device. EMF 1 means, or EMF 2, sorry. EMF 1 means nothing, 0. That is basically just because they're EMF 1 is nothing. EMF 2 means it's a 1. EMF 3 means it's a 2. EMF 4 means it's a 3. EMF 5 means it's a 4. However, there is a +1 or -1 range in which it will actually show you these values. So for EMF 2, it can be 1, it can be 2, or it can be 0. It's basically up or down 1, or nothing. For the EMF 3, it will be 2, or 3, or 1. For EMF 4, it'll be 3, or 4, or 2. Up 1, or down 1. For EMF 5, it'll be 4, or 5, or 3. So it's really simple. It's just in a range around the value it would show. That is how the activity chart works. So yeah, there's people that think and hopefully don't think anymore, because I've tried to explain it as much as I can, that you can't read the chart anymore, because that's what they said in the patch notes. They said, like, made it, I guess, I don't know if they actually said made it impossible for you to see EMF 5, because we literally within a day figured out, okay, no, you can totally still see EMF 5 on the chart. It's just a little bit more complicated. We just had to do some testing. So yeah, you can still totally use the activity chart to find EMF 5. So yeah, that is basically everything you need to know about the EMF. I know, haha, Insym tries to make a YouTube short gone wrong. It's a one hour video talking about a single item in the game. It's because if I don't, then people are gonna take my information and like misconstrue it and misunderstand it. I just need to be as clear as possible, because this game is so damn complicated that if I don't do that, you're gonna miss out on a bunch of nuances. And like, I'm like the teacher. I'm not trying to teach you I'm not trying to teach you a math formula and then like that specific. I'm not interested in you knowing the specific math formula. I'm interested in you knowing the principles on how to solve all math formulas. Like I'm your math teacher that's trying to teach you the principles rather than the specific use cases. But because Phasmo is so edge case ridden and so like convoluted, it often comes down to explaining those edge cases because there's just so many of them. So yeah, it's not my fault. It's Phasmo's fault. Can I please click here? The game is, please don't crash. I just want to really show you the abilities. My cursor, I don't know if you can see my cursor. My cursor was loading. No! All right, well, fuck, my game crashed. I can't show you the abilities. I really wanted to show you how many times it used the abilities, but I assure you that if I went to the ability chart there, it was going to be at least like 10 to 20 different times that it used its abilities. So that probably means that the Banshee ability does not give an EMF. But anyway, I'm restarting the game, but we're actually done. Hope you enjoyed that. Let me know if there's anything else you want me to see, want to see me make a guide about something specifically. I thought this was like a good one to redo because I've done it basically. It's like a yearly tradition at this point to talk about the activity chart and the EMF again because people tend to forget it. And it's one of those things that once you know it, changes your life because EMF is one of those evidences that can be extremely hard to get. It's almost on par with like ghost writing and dots. It can be extremely hard to get. But if you know how to read the activity chart and use that, it suddenly becomes a walk in the park. So yeah, a huge skill thing that a huge thing that once you know it will change your life completely in Phasmo. And I hope it did. Hope you learned something new. And if you already knew this, then I hope you I like listening to stuff, or I like repeating knowledge because it sticks better that way. Hope you enjoyed. If you're not subscribed, please do so. If you liked the video, like it. If you dislike it, dislike it. And if you want to join the lovely gamers here in chat, you can join us over at twitch.tv/insym or click the link in the description down below. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys. Have a good one. Bye-bye.